Hi, son. Good dog. Good dog.
Hi guys, maybe the second time is a charm. It is an absolutely spectacularly gorgeous day here in the end times, in the collapse of global industrial civilization, here in West Bumblefuck, New Mexico, here on this gorgeous Sunday morning, November 12th, 2017. So I have just finished my Sunday Doomsday sermon with my newest favorite Bible of the Apocalypse, Chasing a Different Carrot, a manifesto for the predicament of privilege. We're going to be talking about this word predicament in a moment. Written by none other than my Humpty Dumpty tribe hero, Michael Sliwa. That's S-L-I-W-A for anyone wanting to get this book. I very much encourage you to take my advice and get a copy of this book, and we'll find out how to do that. But right now, we're going to spend a few minutes talking to the author of this book, and more importantly, probably,
To you, maybe.
his lovely wife, Karen. I've already talked to this man, Mike, so I don't know what we're going to talk about this time, but we're going to get the female perspective of what it's like to be married to this man. So anyway, I just want each of you just to say hi for a minute or so, and then we'll figure out how this is going to unfold.
All right. Well, hey, it's good to be back, Humpty Dumpty Tribe. We spoke in June, beginning of the summer, and here we are again in November, so coming up on Thanksgiving. So it's good to be back.
All right, welcome back. And Karen, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Karen. I'm Mike's muse.
There you go. Mike's muse.
It's true.
The brains behind the man.
That's exactly.
Let's see. Hero, I'm not sure I'd throw that word around too much. But
She's kind of like guru.
In Mike's world, in our world.
In our world, she's my guru.
So we're going to get back to Karen in a few minutes after the boys talk here. So Karen, I'm going to read this nice dedication to you from this loving husband of hers in a few minutes. But so I don't know I'm going to talk about this book in a minute. So you're in a unique position in Humpty Dumpty Tribe Hero. This man is sandwiched between. You are sandwiched
Choose your words carefully.
Guy McPherson and Derek Jensen. How does it feel to be sandwiched? I interviewed Guy McPherson yesterday, and I'm going to interview Derek in a couple of days. How does it feel to be in a Guy McPherson, Derek Jensen sandwich?
Well, I've never met Derek personally, and for you and I, this is really, we met a few days ago, and this is our first meeting.
We're going to talk about that.
So it is a little different when you know somebody via social media and then you meet them online. I had a chance to meet Derek about a year ago, and I had to cancel. I was going to go up there and we were going to interview him, me and another guy, and not Guy McPherson. So I don't really know Derek that well. I just know him via some exchanges online. Obviously, my history is storied with Guy McPherson, as it's been splattered all over the Doomosphere. At this moment, it's fine. It is what it is.
It is what it is. There you go. Okay. So we can move on from that. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
And it will be what it will be. Yeah. So civilization is over is what your t-shirt says.
Civilization is over. And then in the back, I think it says something about
elect the dead.
Elect the dead.
All right.
So
It's the band, isn't it?
So what the hell is your shirt talking about?
It's actually a band, or I can't think of the name of the band all of a sudden. One of my students wore this to class is really what happened. And he wore it to class, and it was in my last year of teaching. In my last year of teaching, I was pretty much laying it all out there. We talked about everything, about everything from climate change to debt to the collapse of the, industrial model.
Who is we? You and your teenage students?
Yeah, me and my students, yeah.
Oh, really?
So we had those conversations, and this kid started wearing this shirt, and at the same time I was reading Endgame by Johnson. So I would read passages from Endgame. And this
to
kid,
a class of teenagers?
yeah, and so this kid would wear this shirt, and I'm like,
I want that
I
shirt.
want that shirt. And the last day I taught, he brought it in and gave it to me.
Right.
So,
So I'm glad you're spreading the word
Yeah.
to the youngsters. So as I say, I have a 49-minute sermon that will accompany this. I want to talk about the word predicament.
yeah.
Let's talk about the word predicament. What does it mean? Are we in it, and how the hell are we getting out of it?
Yeah. So in the beginning of the book, what I generally do is I lay out definitions that seem obvious to a lot of people, but in the context that I'm using them, I thought I would say, this is how I'm using all these words because I use them so often. So I define civilization, privilege, predicament, and a whole bunch of others. And it really comes down to the fact that we keep trying to solve things, mostly through technology, and we being the industrial, civilized, people. And there is no solution to this. What we're doing is we keep building a giant game of Jenga, and eventually we're pulling blocks out from the bottom to put them to the top. And as soon as we pull out one of those blocks that really, really matter, then we will no longer be here. And so it's really coming to terms with the idea that we live in a very privileged state right now, like this little glimpse, this little shining flicker in the history of time, and it will go like, whoop, what was that? That was the industrial age, but that's when we came to the point where we were stuck, because we went down a path where there was no return. We have no skill set to go back to what we were doing. We certainly don't have the same planet to do it. And we certainly have no designs on doing it. We don't want to. This feels really good. I get it. I like it too. But it's going to kill us and everything with it.
These palatial surroundings we're in now.
Yeah. I mean, this is nice, but this is still a result of the industrial model. I mean, we'll be gone. There'll be some things that will stay around, plenty that will stay around. The planet will continue to go on. It will recover. But we think we're kind of the center of the universe still.
We're not.
And we're not.
Damn!
And,
is Sancho Panza the center of the universe?
Well,
Right
it could
now?
be.
Right now he's the center of Karen's
Yeah.
universe.
And really, the book, I can summarize the book.
Okay.
It is what it is.
There you go. It is what it is. So anyway, as I say, guys, we can go on for 49 minutes about this, but it would be a kind of a repeat of the companion video. That's what you really need, to hear this develop more. But what I did not get to in my sermon is exactly Mike and Karen's their path, their reaction to like what the fuck from this point. So anyway, I talked to Mike in June, and he was telling me about where he lived on his unintentional community in southern New Mexico. I don't know what image I had of what you were. I had a little bit of an image of a similar community I lived in the middle of Austin, Texas. So I guess I might have been biased by that. But guys, I mean this in an absolute honor, with honor and integrity and everything when I say this. I was a little taken aback.
Were you?
I was. I mean, these guys are. These two, they ain't posers. Now I visited. I visited their neighbor down the street, in their community, and I've got to say, there's no comparison. These guys, they're hardcore. They are hardcore. Now, I don't know. I mean, I don't really want to intrude on their privacy. Over there, what these people are doing, but it's when I first got there, I said, man, I said I'm in a Hooverville. I've gone back about 85 years, and I said, hey, man, you hadn't gone back. You've gone forward about 15 years.
That's the exact reaction I had.
Yeah, it was Dana Hoover is a Trumpville. You lived in Trumpville.
It was. I felt when I walked in, and I've said this to the people I live with, that when I walked in, it felt like a shanty town, a homeless encampment. You would walk through the woods and you would see houses kind of that you could sort of see were makeshift or put together. And then you walk into, obviously the center of the community, which is the kitchen, and it is not your typical little stucco McMansion type place. It's put together with what's been around. So.
Describe your. No, I'm going to hold the question for Karen. So we're going to get Karen up here because we need to get the female perspective. I think this man realizes this. You've been hearing me whining for 8 years that I have not found a woman in my own life who would put up with this shit for for 5 minutes, much less for how many years. It's balls to the wall.
It is, but it isn't. I don't know.
No, I mean,
No, I'm talking just purely physically there, and I don't know how many people listening to this would do what this couple does, but they might be forced into it in a few years.
Yeah. Well, Karen can talk about what we've done and how we, come to this place. Talk a little bit about why we.
No, we're going to put her. Y'all are going to change seats. We're just going to. No. That's in a few more minutes. We're going to get these two to change seats because. And I've already had an hour-long interview with this guy, and you're going to be talking to Mike Farragon tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be on Extinction Radio. Well, I'll interview tomorrow, and then I'll be on later sometime.
So anyway, listen to that. So they'll be they'll be talking, so you get to hear that interview, which I'm looking forward to too. But before we change seats, just go with that. What I was talking about a minute ago is. What you're living, what you are actually living day to day, is this pretty much your vision of what we're going to look like? What year is most of Americans going to be living like you're living?
Yeah, that I don't know. I think sooner, as the Doomers like to say, something like sooner than expected. But I don't want to give people the impression, and we talked about this, I believe, in June. Like, we live in a tent, basically, a yurt, and the people that live around me live in housing that they built out of stuff that was basically in the area. So anything from adobe to tires to,
dirt,
wood, dirt. It's all kind of scrapped together.
Papercrete.
Yeah. And so, but at the same time, we all are on the monetary system.
Yeah,
we're not primitivists.
You didn't take a horse to get it.
No, we still go to the store. We still drive cars. But what I think I like what Paul Michael Greer said a few years ago was John Michael Greer. Sorry, was to collapse early and beat the rush. And I think that's sort of what we're doing. I always tell people, and the phrase I use in my book is, we are slowly, and it's been slow, moving towards the exit of this living arrangement.
But by we now, are you talking the two of you personally?
I'm talking
we or all of us?
I'm talking about us personally, and the rest of us aren't aware that they're doing it. Like,
are not aware.
They're unaware that they're moving towards the exit. We are intentionally moving towards the exit. They just don't know it yet. Because if you look at a timeline of human history, like let's say the Roman Empire, people didn't go, 60 years before the collapse happened, they didn't go, oh, we're in collapse. And they already were at that point.
A few of them did. Probably just like in this society, there were a few of them.
But the majority were not aware that these signs of collapse were happening, and they just thought, well, we'll just get this person elected, it'll change, we'll pass this policy, it'll change, if we get this piece of technology, it'll all become better. And that's not the case. We are slowly just going further and further and further down a rabbit hole that we're unaware of. And I think even the two of us and the folks we live with who've been doing this a lot longer than us, decades before we have, I don't even think we know what's coming.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I don't,
I know what you're saying.
And people like to kind of, think like, oh, let's listen to the Guy McPhersons, the Mike Slivas, the Hambone Littletails, the Derek Jensens of the world, the Carolyn Bakers, Nicole Foss. But there's so many moving parts that who knows what it's going to look like, how it's going to happen. I just don't think we can predict those things. And so that's why I've avoided the predictions, because I haven't gotten anything right. I've tried to predict stuff. I get it wrong every day. So I'm done predicting. I don't know. It is what it is.
It is. Anyway, it is what it is.
And it doesn't really matter. That's really the bottom line.
Well, okay, we're gonna. So what we're gonna do, guys? That was, as I say, go back and listen to my sermon to hear what Mr. Sliwa has to say, and listen to the Extinction Radio, which ought to probably be up within the week.
Within the week, yeah.
And we are now going to change
Cheers.
seats, and we're going to put. Is it Mrs. Sliwa or not?
It is.
It is
You
Mrs.
can call me
Sliwa.
Karen, thanks.
Okay, but I just, I didn't know if y'all were that. I'm going to read this touching dedication to this woman from her loving man.
I believe it.
I'll try not to lose it.
This is a rare, sweet, and tender moment on.
Considering I'm quite hard.
Under the author's acknowledgments. After the first one is Guy McPherson, who gets honored in the acknowledgement.
He did write the foreword.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Okay, but anyway, I'm gonna let Mike read this page.
Is it the little paragraph there?
All the way to the bottom of the page. Do you need my
No,
my
I'm
glasses?
good. I'm great. All right, thank you to my wife for being my largest influence as an adult. I am living a life of discovery because of her ability to move beyond fear. She is as fearless as they come. Karen and I see the world through a lens that is almost identical. Our hard decisions were never difficult, they just happened seamlessly. This is in large part due to her strength of will. She lives passionately, and I am privileged to be in her life. When it comes to living, she has the highest IQ I've ever encountered. I dedicate this book to her. And that's
There
true.
you go.
I've never met
Take
any.
that, all you academics.
She is, when it comes down to life and making decisions, and I say this to her probably weekly, she is by far the most intelligent person I've ever met.
Which is why he's still in my life.
Because no other man is telling you that, or what?
Well, it's just,
No.
there's not too many can deal with me, so.
All right,
Yeah,
Karen.
that
So
happens
have
to be
you,
one
have
of
you
them.
ever done an interview before?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
she
this
was
is-
usually on
Mike-
Sotheby's film.
Mike usually does all the talking, though,
as I'm
which
doing.
is fine.
All
I'm
right.
okay with that.
So this man's gonna practice his meditation. He's gonna go. He's gonna stare at the wall.
I'm going to do my Zen.
So Karen,
You're the one who's curious, so I'm looking for questions.
I have to admit, and I've got to say, what were the numbers? Did you tell me there were 13 people there, and there's 8 women and 5 men? There's
Yeah.
actually
That's about
more?
right.
Yeah, I think that's the numbers, yeah. And there used to be a couple kids there, so.
Well, you describe your living conditions to the ladies and the gentlemen listening to this, and describe them. And would you recommend this as a way of life?
Yeah, I would recommend it as a way of life because we're free. We're free to do what we want, when we want, where we want. We get to wake up in the morning at any time we want to, and then we get to choose what we do in each moment. And it's not, it's not based in fear, and that's really the bottom line. I mean, I don't know exactly how to describe our daily lives. Like I'm a busy person. I work, other places. I pull weeds, and we help on the property. It's a community. If someone needs help, then we show up and we help. So I'm a worker. I'm a worker bee, but
I like to talk and write.
Mike talks
About
and
working.
writes, and that actually has been, something that we've had to work through sometimes. And so, we have a relationship just like everybody else has the relationship. There's certain things we got to talk about and work through, and we see things differently sometimes. And I don't know.
Describe
to
your home to. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's a Mongolian ger, which means it's a tent. It's the technology's been around for 2,000 to 3,000 years. People still live in them in Mongolia. It has no windows. It has a door and a dome. It is about 10 degrees difference during the day, inside and outside in the winter. So if it's 32 outside, it's 42 inside without a fire. But we have a wood stove. It's beautifully painted. I'm sure you've seen pictures. I don't know if you follow Mike. He's the one who puts that stuff out. But it's small. It's 283
Square feet.
280 for the two of you share 283 square feet.
It's really about 20 square feet if you have all the stuff that's in the floor space.
Yeah.
So
I like thrift stores and stuff, so.
yeah.
We have lots, but everything we have, we use, and you know, I don't know what to tell you. It's a beautiful, fancy tent, and we love living in it. The round space is very womb-like, and it's cozy, and it's hot in the summer, but we're working on that. And
Did you bring it with you, or was it
no, we
there?
bought it on eBay. I bid for it on eBay.
Oh,
And it was in
but I
California.
mean, you did. It wasn't on the land when
No,
you
it
got
was
there. Y'all
not.
brought
No.
it. Y'all brought it onto the land.
Yeah, it was a
Right.
guy who was in the Peace Corps,
Right.
and he you get apparently free shipping to Peace Corps. And he did his Peace Corps work in Mongolia.
Oh,
He shipped himself a bunch of
wow.
yurts back, and then Karen bid on part of the yurt without reading the fine print. You can tell him. What
Right, I bid on it for $1,000 because I'd done my research on it already because we looked at them before. And the one that I bid on just had the frame in the door and just the framework, all the wood, nothing else that went with it. And it was $1,000. I won the bid. I was like, oh shit, now I gotta go get it. It was in California. So me and actually two of my former students went and picked it up. And when we got there, the guy told me that he actually had one that had all the canvas and everything that went with it.
Plus
a
a
stove,
Wow.
like some furniture that went with it, and everything that went with
So
it.
what was the total drive out?
$2,500.
$2,500. Good Lord, you can't get a granite countertop put in your McMansion.
If you buy
for-
it new, it would have been about $8 grand
$8
on a
grand.
site, like a yurt
Yeah.
site that sells yurts. Yeah.
The real ones come with felt, and
For
this
the
one did not have felt for the insulation. But the man who was in the Peace Corps and sold it to us said, "Well, you're living in the Southwest. All you need to do is buy quilts." So our tent is insulated with quilts from the thrift store.
I don't know. It is beautiful inside. So you mentioned it, you and your students. So tell me, so your former, describe your former life. So what did you walk away from? So you and Mike were both teachers, right?
Yep. Yep.
Living in what town?
Phoenix. We lived in Phoenix, and we both taught in
High school.
Yeah.
high school. I taught high school girls PE, and we had been, our life. I don't even know how to describe it. I've lost my mother when I was young, and she was young. I lost a sister. So I had a lot of loss in my life, and I was also a CNA, which means I worked in nursing homes and in home health care, and so I learned a lot about death. And I learned a lot about living life now and in the moment, and which probably helps me with fear.
Yeah.
And Mike and I had been talking about how we don't want to work until we're 65, 70 years old, and then get sick and die. Which was prevalent in my life. And so I learned at a very young age to live in the now. And Mike Googled travel the world on a budget.
This story's been told many times, but I Googled how to travel the world on a shoestring budget. Woofing came up. We started woofing. We quit our jobs. We literally had no discussion about this other than when should we quit our jobs.
Yeah,
we said 3 years. We thought on that for a week and go, let's do it next year.
Mm-hmm.
And so we took a year to basically get things in order, and we hit the road.
Yep.
There you go. So, wow. Tell me about the fear. It's
There is no fear.
Well, there is for 99.9% of the planet.
Well, that's what you got to work on then. That's what
How
you got to do.
and
You have to have the belief, and this is not from a religious perspective or anything, the faith that everything's going to work out. And I believe that.
Yeah, but tell your definition of working out.
Yes.
It just is.
It is. It just is. It's right. It is. Everything, we're always going to be provided for. Food, shelter, water. We have a beautiful community. We're set. The rest is fluff. That's really what it boils down to. Do I have to probably work to make money to be able to run my car? You betcha. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But it's still on my terms.
Yeah, that's the biggest difference.
We're not wage slaves. And we're never going to be wage slaves. And we'll work enough and we've met enough people in the world to see it done. So it's not, I don't have that fear.
So talk to other women whose boyfriends or especially husbands. What I've thought about this is what happens in a committed relationship when one of you goes down this rabbit hole and the other one's not ready to go there. And I might just be projecting, is that my guess is that it's usually the man who starts down this rabbit hole. I could be completely wrong, but that's my guess, is usually. What would you say to another woman right now whose man is going down this rabbit hole and suggesting, honey, you know, why don't we sell our beautiful 4-bedroom home on the Greenbelt and wherever, and move to a yurt in a Trumpville out in the middle of nowhere in New Mexico?
So it's not a question that it can exactly be answered by each person, because, well, I'm not a normal woman. I mean, everybody who knows me knows that I'm not a normal woman. I'm a tomboy. I've been independent my whole life. I do what I please. I mean, ask Mike.
Our relationship is really almost a gender swap in a lot of ways. And this is not a rip on women at all.
Yes.
But Karen is more aggressive.
Yes.
Karen has more what you would call traditional male skills than I do. And she's always kind of been the one who takes charge and leads, and I'm more of a follower.
Is that true?
Very true.
So that's the.
Well, maybe you're
That's
not maybe you're not the June Cleaver spokeswoman.
No, I'm not. Never have been. I've been told my whole life I can't do it from men, boys, whatever. When I was this big, and I proved them wrong for 50 years. So.
But you and the other women living on this place, I mean, they are living proof that that girls can do this.
Absolutely, absolutely. And they're going back to your question. You have to give up the conveniences of life, like phones and fancy cars, and you don't get to
72.5 degrees.
Exactly. You don't get to go and we shit in a bucket. I mean, you have to get past that stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know a lot of women who would be willing to do that. I mean, there's plenty of them when we live with them.
Let's be honest, there's plenty of men that won't either.
Exactly.
Oh, of course.
You're right.
Well, I mean,
You're right.
oh yeah.
And
I'm not just, I'm not implying that at all. I'm just thinking it's just like I just could not imagine. I guess until I met these 8 women that they're and we're not talking. You're the youngest one of them all, probably.
It's your third youngest.
Third youngest.
Yeah, they range from about early 40s to 78.
Yeah, there's a 78-year-old woman, the Queen Bee out there, but it's not college kids, out on a life experience woofing thing. These are people who have, I admit I'm not ready to go there. I mean, I'm homeless, living out of my truck, but I was actually. It was weird when I was sitting there after everyone went to bed, and I was sitting out there watching Orion rise. I was, like wishing that I could make, but I admit I'm not ready. I'm not ready to make the physical step. But I have to say, anyone who's been listening to me the last week and know that I was rapidly getting depressed last week. And just how sitting down with these guys, in total strength. Well, the first time I actually laid eyes on Mike, but knowing Karen literally for an hour, and these people, how I was just, and these people didn't know me from Adam. Maybe they watched a couple of my videos, some of the people there, I don't know, but I was a total stranger, and I was just completely just welcomed. I mean, the no question who you are, what are you doing here, what right. There was no suspicion. It was, pull up a seat, Hamlin, and let's talk. And it was, and I just got a little bit of taste of that end of it. And talk about that end of it, the community and the.
Well, it's really run by women in so many ways, and so that's a really empowering thing really for me, and I'm speaking for Mike, but I'm pretty sure for Mike too, because Mike's learned a lot. We call them all a bunch of old mares. And they're all old mares because they're wise people. They've done this. They've been doing this for 30 years.
And the old gray mare, she ain't what she used to be.
And she ain't. And that's one of our roles on the property, is that the old mares and the people on the property, they're aging and we are younger. So we do the heavy hard work and we will be taking care of these people. And so that's part of the beauty of our community, is that we all are on the same page. Nobody should own the land, and nobody owns the land. And so we're all there living for free except for taxes. And we take care of each other. But yet we have our own space. Like we all have our own itty bitty little space. There's a community garden, but we all kind of, because we're all, many of us are introverts. I think Mike's the only one who's not an introvert on the property, quite frankly. So that we all need our space too. So, and this is all new for me, you know. So it's really a beautiful, empowering space where I have these women, these older women who can give me advice and talk to me, and we talk to each other, and there's this different compared to the civilized world of patriarchy.
It is unique living in a place as a man where there is very little testosterone on the property.
Yeah, it's
I'll tell you, it's incredible, because I've never had that really in my life, because everywhere you go, there's testosterone and you can feel the competition. And when I started living on this property, I mean, there's 4 or 5 guys, but all of us, we're not your traditional manly men.
Yeah.
And we all, I think, are pretty good listeners, although we need to get a lot better. But living amongst women and not having that feeling I think it's the biggest liberation for me personally than getting up knowing I don't have to go to work. Just living with that feeling that there is not this testosterone floating in the ether is an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the one that I was in Austin. Well, we had our benevolent dictator, you know, but it was testosterone. It was 7 men and 1 woman on that one. So anyway, just so you guys understand, and this is exactly when I was having this about my vision. It's the same vision of this place where I was living in St. Croix, which just got blown off the map by a hurricane, unfortunately. But what it is there's a central community. It's the kitchen and the dining room is the place to break bread, where if you want social intercourse, you can go to find that with the kitchen, the dining room, and I guess there's community bathrooms. Each house doesn't have its own bathroom, and then around the periphery, people can go for their alone time. And so, and that is the model which speaks to me, and obviously it works for you.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You have that central hub, and you know, we go there. I go there a lot, and we have our potlucks there, which you may, if you choose to experience this evening. And that's people come from all over the community, including towns that are 30, 40 miles away. But yeah, I think if you don't have that it's almost the hub of the wheel, like we're talking. Yeah, I think it just becomes like a neighborhood.
Yeah, and if you don't have the center, but then by the flip side, you got it. But I think in a lot of these communities, there's nowhere to hide.
Right.
So it's yin yang thing going.
Right, because we walk through it, and it is. You kind of got your own space, and it's kind of covered, and people can, they can literally go and be alone. And like my parents live in a stucco McMansion in Phoenix, in basically a cubicle amongst everyone else, and there's a hub, but it's a pool, but they all go separately, and people look outside to see if the pool's empty, and then they go. Or we listen for voices on our property in the morning, and who's out where, and you look for the smoke of the campfire, and you do all those things, and I've never experienced that.
And
it's like camping. Yeah,
and you're always invited, and if you're not invited, they will tell you you're not invited. Yeah, there's this brutal honesty that we all have with each other about, boundaries, and what if you say something that isn't true, then we talk about it. There's just not a lot of places have that. that freedom to be who you are
All the time.
all the time.
Yeah. And speak honestly and not get hurt about it. If you do get hurt about it, we talk about that too.
Right.
So there's nobody's speaking in code there.
Right. And everybody's reflecting all the time. Like, what could I have done to make that situation better? That's just pure, I don't know how to, it's just the way to live, I think. I'm not, without trying to preach, but when you can reflect and you can have empathy and you can have compassion and you can put your own needs, how do I want to say that? When you think of your own needs as something that's for the greater good. Granted, you have to take your own needs into account. You have to. Like, I will always come first. And that is an important thing in the world. But I also have, what I don't think a lot of people have, is self-confidence. And that's something that I've had to work on forever. So I can say to you, if you say something to me or about me, whoever, I can look at that and go, okay, I know that's not true, or it's okay if you say that about me, because you're going to believe what you want to believe anyway. It is what it fucking is, and I don't give a shit what you think, because I know what my behavior has done, and I know what I've done in this world, and I know that when I choose to do something, that I'm thinking about what else is going on around me. How does my behavior ripple?
Well.
And that's reflection, and I don't think a lot of people have that. I don't think they have an ability to reflect. That's my opinion.
That's one of the reasons we're in the mess we're in. Tell the story about what happened at the potluck a couple of weeks ago.
Cougar.
Oh, yeah. We were all sitting around the fire afterwards. We always have a fire afterwards, and we sit around and chat. And
you went for a walk, basically, or found the dog.
well, one of the women who lives in the property has 2 dogs, and the dogs are bark. They'll chase shit during this. That's what they do. And they had treed a mountain lion in the big oak. That's 50 feet from the fire.
Yeah. I'm talking about, picture this, guys. There were 12 humans, a fire, 2 dogs.
It's pitch black.
They're pitch black. I don't even think it was 50 feet. You should have seen that. I said, you're telling me that tree?
Yeah. And the dog that treed it was a big German Shepherd, probably about this long and about this high, and the cat, according to its owner, was twice the size of that dog.
I mean, a full-grown mountain lion. I mean, this is right out of the Flintstones. This is the saber-toothed tiger right at the end of the flickering fire.
And the conversation was instantly, don't tell anyone.
Exactly.
Because if people find out, they'll come and shoot it.
Well, that's why one reason we'll keep the location of this place. But I was thinking, wow. I mean, this is not a story that most people can talk about. There might be more full-grown mountain lions in the oak tree 50 feet from your living room than we realize out there.
You're probably right.
We're just completely unaware of it.
Well, that's what the civilized, story is, though, is that, oh my God, you have a mountain lion in your midst and you're going to die. And you're not. They don't want you to see them. It's rare that you actually do get to see them. The dogs just treat it.
Yeah. But if the dogs hadn't called you, you wouldn't know.
We wouldn't have known it was there.
And most of the people,
no clue.
Most of the people in my life that live in this community have, lived in this area a long, long, long time, and that's the first mountain lion they'd ever had been near or seen.
Right.
And they camped in this wilderness.
Yeah. I mean,
there's no chance there was an escaped pet.
No.
No chance.
They just killed 2 in Silver the other day.
Yeah.
Oh no, fuckers.
Yeah.
It might have been. He might have been one of them.
Might have been.
I don't know.
What was their excuse on that?
They were in town.
So
children. We got to protect the children, is what I heard.
Children and dogs.
Was from them. Yeah.
Cats.
So they just shot them.
They shot them.
They just shot them. Yeah. And the hunting around here of mountain lions is just you have a dog, you chase it up a tree,
and then you shoot it. That's
really
the hunting they do here.
I was reading this thing about a year ago. Do you know how many legal, not even counting all the rednecks killing me, and this number, how many mountain lions legally have been hunted in this country in the past 30 years?
Yeah.
68,000.
That's it.
68,000 mountain lions have been legally, that you can just go and pay $100 and go.
There used to be grizzly in the Gila, and so I think in the 1930s they killed the last grizzly here.
Are there ever going to be grizzlies in the Gila again?
Probably not.
We got brown bears.
Like Derek always says, you just have to ask yourself, are there more salmon than there were yesterday? Are there more prairies than there were yesterday? Are there more old growth forests? And you know the answers to these, and then you can say which direction we're going.
Yep.
So.
All right, so what is, then we're going to change seats again. Your takeaway message to the tribe, what is the...
Yeah, honestly, it's find what your passion is and do it. And I don't care if you're a banker and you're making a bajillion dollars, but you absolutely love it and you're not exactly hurting people, which is a challenge with that kind of a job, but do what you want in the moment. What is your passion? And you figure it out and you live in the moment and it will work, things will work out if you put that out there in the universe without sounding too woo-woo. Yeah. But it's just like, I live in the moment. I wake up and, there's still money in the can. And if we need more money, I'll get a job. It's okay. And that's not a problem. And I'm okay with working. Mike, not so much. But that's okay. And he has other skills that
I'm okay with working. I'm not okay with employment.
There you go. So that's words, right. So that's my advice. My advice is, I believe in these end times because I am a doomer too. I'm not going to predict because I don't think it matters. Live now, live in the moment.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
your takeaway.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing people look at us, and we get this, and I'm sure you've gotten this. You live nomadically, and we considered that, and we did for a while. But I think people think that they're living in the most wealthy nation in the world, and they think they're taking this huge risk. And there's really a giant net underneath most people. And I'm speaking for myself. Like I could have easily, if this wouldn't have worked out, we could have both gone back. We still can, and go get our jobs. I don't know the number, the statistic, but I'd be interested to hear how many people actually starve to death in the United States annually. My guess is the number is fairly low compared to a lot of countries. And so I'm not saying everybody has the immense privilege that I have to go out and quit their job right away, but what most people I find, the thing that holds them back is that they have this fear Karen talked about, and they don't really know how to go about it. And so if you really want to figure out a way to go about it, you're welcome to write me, write Guy, people who have actually taken a non-traditional route. And so what everybody wants to do is they keep taking a traditional route and they expect a non-traditional outcome.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're not going to get that. And so you have to do something radically different. And you've done it, I've done it, Guy's done it, a bunch of people have done it and written books about it, and we've all done it differently. But if you want a different outcome, you have to actually take that chance.
You've got to take that first step.
And it's not that big of a chance for a lot of us white folks who who had employment experience, who have a little bit of money in a savings, who have a running vehicle. Those are things that we all take for granted, and that are really still a safety net. And you're not going to crash and burn. You can just change your mind and go, well, that didn't work out.
Well, you can change your mind in 2017. In
2017.
Are you going to be able to change your mind?
And you might not be able to, but if it comes down to that, I don't even think folks like us are going to, for what's coming.
Well,
we may last a day longer, I don't know if that.
Right.
But they may come for us because we know something. Or we have a skill set that they may not have. Like we talked about earlier, there's just too many variables to see who's going to make it, who's not going to.
Right. And it's it really boils down to wants versus needs. Your wants are different than your needs. Yeah. Wants are the fluff, and that's the thing that you have to make a decision about. How much less fluff are you going to have, and people that lived 100 years ago didn't have the fluff that we have now.
No,
and
they don't.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
So there's this. It's like breaking it down to the bottom of what you need and what you need.
And these two have. They still got the gas sucking car out there, right? Parked right behind my gas sucking truck.
We still have a credit card.
Yep.
We have a cell phone that works when we go to cities.
Yep.
We still have computers.
Yep.
We still shop at grocery stores.
Yep.
A couple things we don't have. I don't have health insurance. But I have found out and I've talked about this in other interviews, that sometimes what I've gone through, like kidney stones and things like that, and depending where they happen and what country I'm in, it's been cheaper actually not having the insurance, because they negotiate when you find out you're a cash paying customer.
And in the end, insurance companies are just trying to rip you off. So it's like, you know, why am I going to play that game?
I'll go broke if I get cancer if I had insurance or not.
Exactly. If I had a house and a fancy car and I had cancer and it was a terrible cancer, I'm going to probably lose all that anyway.
I literally traded corn and tomatoes for a skin cancer biopsy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Literally, and it was great.
Yeah.
I said, well, if you're charging me that money, I said, I'm going to go to Home Depot, I'm going to get some sort of muriatic acid and rub it on this thing, and when they heard that, then we negotiated corn and tomatoes.
Yeah,
And,
they negotiated a ultrasound for me because they found out I was a cash paying customer, and they just cut down the price because I wasn't insurance. And so they would have charged X the insurance company. Yeah.
All right, well,
That's okay, baby.
I do appreciate these folks coming out, and I need to get ready because I'm going to go to a potluck there tonight and meet some of these other
folks.
As I say, at first I was hoping I could take the camera out there, but I'm not gonna. Particularly with the mountain lion. No, I don't want to mess with people's privacy and stuff. But there's plenty of these communities are out there.
All over the world.
Yeah, there's more of them than you think.
Yeah, if you Google intentional communities, there's a database, and you type in a search engine of specifics you're looking for, and thousands of stuff pops up.
So get out there and do it, guys, and get out there and enjoy it while you still can. And that's what I'm getting ready to do, because I gotta figure out a way to cook up some chicken legs, and there's not even a grill. I see a wheelbarrow full of sticks out there, so I'm gonna figure out how to put a grill over the top of an old wheelbarrow and cook up some of those CAFO chicken legs to bring to a potluck to celebrate the end times. All right, guys, so...
Thanks, Hambone.
See ya. Thanks, Hambone.
Bye, guys. One more time.
Yeah, you can find it on Amazon. It's $3.99 for the Kindle, $9.99 for the paperback.
There you go. And do listen to that sermon next to this rant. Bye, guys.